Today, I'm going to be talking to you about everything that we saw in Season 2, Episode 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 4 was one of the best episodes that we've ever gotten of the anime. I mean, goodness gracious. Again, hats off to the Mappa animators. They've absolutely been killing it this season, not only with the adaptation of the manga itself, but also making sure to include those famous popular panels that made the manga so popular. And again, hats off to them. They've absolutely been killing it. I do have one gripe with this episode, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. This episode started off with Geto facing off against Toji in a fight that honestly I felt like was pretty one-sided, to be honest. Toji had the upper hand pretty much the entire time, and even though he deployed his strongest curses, it did not matter against Toji. Toji was just simply too fast and too skilled for him to handle. If I'm not mistaken, at this point in this series, I believe that Geto is a grade 1 or grade 2 sorcerer, so he's not a special grade. Toji would definitely be considered a special grade sorcerer, or, you know, I guess curse user through heavenly restriction at this point. Not entirely sure how that works, but yeah, Toji is definitely, again, a step above Geto at this point. I think Gojo also is only a level 1 sorcerer. He's not even a special grade yet. So it's very important for you guys to understand that they are not supposed to be able to handle Toji in the slightest. He's known as an assassin. He's known for going out and killing people. That's what he does for a living. And so it's exceptionally impressive what we saw from Gojo in this episode. And even Geto, you know, hats off to him. He tried to hold his own, but I mean, his curses just couldn't do a thing against Toji. His speed was just too much. And then we get to see a bit of how cold Toji is and how cold he was when he was collecting the bounty. You know, he just did not care. He was like, yep, this is it. They gave him a bonus and he was like, all right, whatever, I'm walking out. We did get to see him get a flashback of Megumi and remember Megumi's name, which was really interesting. Kind of a random spot in the episode to have it. It was right after he defeated Geto, and then he had just this random ass look on his face, and it was just super random. But in my opinion, that was something definitely interesting to include, especially with the ending of the episode. Now, the main course, everything that, you know, everyone was really looking forward to with this episode was Toji versus Gojo round 2, and they absolutely killed it with that fight specifically. I thought the animation was really, really crisp during the fights in this episode, and especially during the Toji versus Gojo fight. I thought they did an amazing job of, you know, depicting how crazy Gojo had gone, not only, you know, in the fight, but then in the after scene, you know, which we'll talk about a bit. But yeah, I mean, the fight, just goodness gracious, I could not have asked for more from the Mappa animators. They absolutely killed it. You know, Toji pulling out his curse tools and stuff, using his curse during the fight and stuff like that was just really cool to see. Along with that, getting to see Gojo like that, we haven't really gotten to see him like that, and I thought that was another thing that they did exceptionally well. Now, getting to my one gripe about the episode, the throughout heaven and earth, I'm the honored one moment was not as, you know, I think well depicted as it could have been. Gojo was kind of depicted in the manga to be like losing his shit when he was saying that, and then in the anime, they kind of made it seem like he had calmed down at least a little bit, and then he threw that out there after saying how beautiful the world was and stuff like that. I think it's really interesting that Gojo notes that curse technique can't regrow parts of your body, but reverse curse technique can. But we also know that that comes with, you know, destroying the curse technique part of the brain over and over and over again. As we've seen in the manga in recently in chapter 230, we saw that with Sukuna and Gojo facing off against each other. That was just something I thought I'd sprinkle in there for you guys who are caught up with the manga. Also, catch up with the manga if you haven't already, just so you can get an idea of what the hell is going to be going down in the Shibuya incident arc in a couple of episodes. But also, it's just getting really good, so I definitely recommend it. But yeah, so that was the one gripe that I had with the episode, was that they just really didn't do that specific scene, in my opinion, not justice, because I think they, you know, they did do it obviously, but they didn't make it such a dramatic moment. You know, the more dramatic moment in my opinion was Hollow Purple, and as of the time recording, I haven't made the thumbnail for the video, but I think that is going to be the thumbnail for the video, because that moment was unbelievably cool. You know, him talking about how it's like a secret even within the Gojo clan, only a couple people know how to do. You know, you combine red and you combine blue, and then you get Hollow Purple, and that was just really, really cool to see. The visuals were something outside of just the animation of the fights, just the visuals and the art when Gojo was talking about how beautiful the world was really, really, really cool in my opinion. I thought that was something they did really well. Just some really good, I guess, B-roll, if you can have B-roll in anime, if that makes sense. Again, just thought it added to the moment and added to him sort of realizing that he is the honored one, you know, he's him essentially, you know. That was just an absolutely awesome moment. Now, moving on from that, Gojo and Geto's conversation at the very end. You know, we're gonna skip over Toji talking about Megumi, because I mean, obviously that came in to play, you know, later on down the line. It's the reason that Megumi was adopted by Gojo in the first place, but we're gonna skip past that because I feel like most people know about that already. So talking about that final scene with Geto and Gojo, where Gojo's like, I kind of want to kill all these people right now, and Geto's like, nah, don't do that shit, bro, that's not cool. I thought that was exceptionally interesting, especially because of, you know, the direction that Geto's character is gonna going to be going into with the premature death arc. I know a lot of people also get the premature death arc and the hidden inventory arc. They kind of combine them into like one big arc, I guess, or call them like the same thing. But the premature death arc is actually just going to be the next episode, if I'm not mistaken. It's when Gojo goes evil because of Yuhaibara's premature death. That's why it's called the premature death arc, from my understanding of it at least. But yeah, so a little spoiler right there. Yuhaibara is going to die and kind of cause Geto to become more evil. And then he has a conversation with a special grade sorcerer who I cannot remember the name of right now, but she kind of pushes him again to become more evil. It's, you know, it's really interesting at this point to see how Gojo could have totally become Geto essentially. We could have like seen a total flip-flop of the sides. And honestly, who the fuck would stop Gojo, bro? Kenjaku would be like, all right, we're teaming up. Absolutely. Probably would have been able to get Sukuna into Yuji much more easily, you know, if Gojo had become evil. Like, it would have been fucked. Also, because of the way that we know that Gojo's birth and his, you know, having the 6 eyes caused a lot of curse users to stop using their curses essentially and stop being bad people, as we'll see later in the Shibuya incident arc. That would just, again, be like one of those things where it's like, holy shit, the entire verse changes if Gojo does become bad and if Geto is the one essentially that's trying to talk him down from that ledge. Again, I also think that it's interesting, you know, you can't say that Gege Akutami was foreshadowing this much into the future, but with, you know, Gojo, since he had recently destroyed his brain and re-brought his brain back into, or the curse technique part of his brain, at least back into the fold, you could argue that that's the reason that he was feeling that way, but it's just so interesting to see the variance between Geto and Gojo's philosophies, especially as, you know, next episode, really, again, I think it's the death of Yuhaibara that really pushes Geto to become evil and to be, like, just kill everyone that's not a Jujutsu sorcerer that doesn't have curse technique. But yeah, I mean, so many layers to so many different things in the episode. Again, hats off to everyone involved, absolutely killing it. Animator's been killing it, absolutely phenomenal. You can really tell, especially with the big fights, that they are putting their all into it. The Geto versus Toji fight felt a little, not under animated, but there were some parts where I was like, the frame rate's kind of funky a little bit here. That could have just been my computer, maybe, I'm not sure. But you know, when it comes down to it, when it's the real big fights, the big moments, the Toji versus Gojos of the world, you know, I'm sure later Yuji versus Choso is going to be a whole episode, and that's going to be fucking amazing. I'm telling you guys right now, that's going to be such an amazingly like animated fight, especially seeing as they're able to do that like quick movement, and Choso's blood technique, you know, his blood manipulation technique is going to be so cool to see animated. So there you guys have it. That is my opinion on this episode. Absolutely phenomenal episode. Love to see it. Very excited for the next episode. Very excited to finally get into the Shibuya incident arc. I am so ready for it. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys want to see next. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.